the one, the only, Ben Sion. Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Daily Double. Today we're going to Shekalim, Parak Beis, Mishnah Hay, finishing second parak. We're starting the third parak, Mishnah Aleph. Mishnah Hay says, most are Shekalim Chulin, like we learned yesterday, that if you set aside small money to make up the Machzah Shekel, and you have extra, you didn't realize you have extra, so it's Chulin, according to Beis Hillel, at least Hektish B'tos is not Hektish, and therefore it's Chulin. Most are Asiras Ha'efa, most are Kinei Zavin, Kinei Zalos, Kinei Yolos, Chadas, Vashamos, Motrei, and Nedava. Just like we learned yesterday about Korban Chatas. Asiras Ha'efa here is talking about a Korban, someone who violates three specific sins, either Shvuos Ha'edos, Shvuos Ha'bikadon, or he is Tameh and he goes into Azar or eats Kachim. So if he's very poor, he brings Asiras Ha'efa, and he ends up bringing a little too much flour. So, or the birds for zinat, he sets aside money for birds of Zav or Zavos, Yoledes, Chados, Vasham. All these sins are brought for kapara, and therefore, like we learned yesterday, for achatas, the extra money goes for an adava, for a korban, a voluntary korban when the mizbeach is empty. Ze'al klal. It's coming for a sin of either a mistake or guilt. Most are in adava. Most are ola. If you collect money for an ola and a dava, right? And you have extra money, it goes to ola for the same thing. Most are mincha, mincha. You want to bring a mincha as in a dava, as a voluntary offering. You have extra money, you set aside. You didn't realize you were setting extra money. It's the mincha. Most are shlamim, extra money for a karan shlamim, used for a karan shlamim. Most are pesach, shlamim, more money for a param pesach, used for a shlamim. Because every pesach we mentioned is a shlamim. Most are nazirim, let's say you set aside a lot of money. The head of the town sets a lot of money. They collect money for Nazirim. So you have extra money, you use it for other Nazirim. Most are Nazir. If it's one Nazir, he sets aside money for a carbon, and he has enough. He set aside extra money. He didn't realize he was setting aside. That's used l'nedava, because a Nazir again is someone who sins, according to most opinions. So it's used for nedava. Most are aniyim la'aniyim. If the gaboyim, they collect extra money for poor people, you use it for other poor people. Most are ani. If you collect for one person, you have extra money, la'osa ani, he gets it, even though he doesn't need all that money. Most are shvuyim l'shvuyim. If they collect a lot of money for captives, they use it for other captives. Most are shava. If you collect for one person captive, and you have enough money to redeem him, you have extra money, la'osa shava, he gets the money anyway. Most are hamesim l'mesim. If you collect money for dead people, to bury dead people, they don't have people to bury them, it goes for other dead people. Most are hames. If you collect for one dead person, for his burial, yarshav, the money, extra money goes to his the people that inherit him. Meir says we're actually not sure what to do with the money, so we leave it till Eliyahu comes to tell us what to do with it. Rabbi Nassan Omer Mosar Mace Bonin Lo Nefesh Al Kir. Rabbi Nassan says no, the mace is entitled to that money, and you build a fancier burial plot for him. You build a fancy covering for his burial plot, because it belongs to him. Meir is not sure, is the opinion like the Kanam or like Rabbi Nassan. And therefore he says you leave it until Eliyahu comes. I'll talk about the Machlokas Hanakama, Rav Nassan, and Rav Meir, and Iyam and Tzion. Let's go to Parak Gimel Mishnah Aleph. Three times during the year, we said that the Machzah Shekel was used to bring the Korban Sibur during the year. So they didn't take all the money at one time, Rosh Chodesh Nisan. They took the first time, Rosh Chodesh Nisan. And they took two other times during the year. Prosa Pesach. Prosa Pesach means Aleph Nisan, 15 days before Pesach, which is half of the days. Pros means part of 30 days. 30 days before the Chag, you're supposed to learn about the Chag. So pros, half of that, 15 days before Pesach. Pros Hatzeres, 15 days before Shavuos. Pros Chag, 15 days before Sukkot. Vein Garnas L'Maiser Behema, Divrei Rabbi Akiva. These times are also significant regarding to Maiser Behema. Now, when you have animals during the year, you have to take off a meiser, one out of every 10 new animals that are born that year. You're allowed to eat those animals and shech those animals, meaning from your flock, before taking off meiser behema, unless it's already Aleph Nisan, or 15 days before Shavuos, or 15 days before Sukkot, in which case that basically establishes a time where you cannot partake of your animals before giving meiser behema. And the reason they instituted these times is because these are times before you go to the Beis Hamikdash Aliyas HaRegel. So Meiser Behema was allowed to be eaten by the Bailam, by the owners. You go to Yerushalayim, you shecht it. So therefore, the people should set aside these animals for Meiser Behema right before, and then they'll be able, because people want to use this for Meiser Behema. If they delay in doing this, then they're not going to want to partake of their own animals, because they want to make sure there's something left for Meiser Behema. Ben Azai Omer, Be'eshim B'tisha Ba'adar. Ben Azai argues on Rabbi Akiva. He says that for Meiser Behema, the days when it became Aser, right, when it's a goren, establishes a goren, that it's Aser to partake of Meiser without setting aside Meiser, without setting aside the Meiser Behema, is the 29th day of Adar, or Be'echa B'Sivan, on the first day of Sivan, Eshrim B'tisha B'Av, 29th day of Av. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon, Omrim Be'echa B'Nisan, Be'echa B'Sivan, Be'eshrim B'tisha B'Elul. They say the first day of Nisan, which is like the other opinions, Be'echa B'Sivan, Be'eshrim B'tisha B'Elul, which makes a little more sense. That's 16 days before Sukkot. Why does last opinion say 29th day of Elul and not like Rabbi Akiva, who says Aleph Tishrei? You can't really take off Shumas on Maitzos, but the Rabban, you can't take Shumas Maitzos on Yom Tov. Therefore, on the 29th of Elul, according to the last opinion, that's the day to take off Meiser Behema. These other opinions are explained why they argue in Rabbi Akiva Maseches Bechoros, so we'll leave it for now. Stay tuned for Iyam and Tzion, where they discuss the machlokes between Rab Nassan and the Tanakama about Mosar HaMeis. Does it go to his Yorshim, or does it go for his own burial plot? Iyam and Tzion coming up next.